Once you have your Veilux set up, after we showed you the different things, here is where you would have your monitor inputs, depending on which matrix system you have, depending on how many inputs you would have here. Some people will have more monitor inputs setting right here and everything. As I said, depending on how many monitor inputs you have. And then over here is all your monitor outputs. Here's where you would plug in your monitor or your cameras, which we have 4 of them connected, and we have 4 different monitors connected here, which we'll show you on how to use the monitors and other things here soon. On your keyboard, once you have the cameras and the monitors both hooked up, if you hit 1 monitor, 2 cam, you'll have the cameras on monitor 1. You can hit 1 cam, go to monitor or camera 1, 3 cam, and you'll see the 3rd camera. Here is where you can change different cameras, different monitors, and different locations. If we look up, we have another monitor. This is actually monitor 2. You can hit 1 cam, or over here on the keyboard, you've got to change to 2 monitor. So if you look very closely, we now have 2 right here in camera 2, showing that we have camera number 2 on the 2nd monitor. And then the same thing on the 2nd monitor, you would hit 1 cam to see camera 1, 2 cam to see camera 2, 3 cam to see the next couple of cameras. And this was how you would do 4, 5, 6, depending on how many monitors you have versus how many cameras you have. You would just basically, on this, here, you would type in the monitor that you want to see the camera on, and then you would type in the camera. Here at the bottom, you've got the monitor, so you would type in the monitor number, and then hit monitor to access that monitor, and then you would type in the number of the camera you want to see, and then hit cam to access it, and it will pop up on the screen, as I said, of the monitor that you want to access. And then after that, you would hit in the camera and it will pull up that camera. Next, we're going to talk detail about the actual setting up the matrix through the software using the COM port. And please note, when you have this COM port plugged into, which we're about to plug into right now, once this COM port is plugged into, you cannot use the keyboard until you disconnect this COM port. So whenever the COM port is plugged into the unit, the keyboard is automatically disenabled. Now on the matrix, it's going to be 9600. Our matrix only works with 9600 baud rate. COM port. This is going to be what COM port you have it plugged into your PC. Ours is set to COM port 1. You may have COM port 2, 3, or 4 depending on how many COM ports you have on your unit, depending on which one you're going to choose here. Select backup data. When you click here, you've got 3 data backups. This is for matrix setup. Let's say you've got a setup for data 1, you've got a different setup for data 2, and you've got a different setup for data 3. This is where you've gone through the matrix and you've added certain changes on your matrix and you want to use this data. Most people is going to be using 1 data, and that's all. This is only to upload information to the data and save. After you install the Matrix software, this is what will come up when you click on Matrix Set. And on this, I'm going to show you on how to set up the software and everything. Here, Next, we got the matrix menu. This right here is to access the OSD of the matrix, which this right here you are not going to be using, because this, when you access the OSD of the matrix and try to set it through the matrix, it's very complex and most of the options are gone. Here you can type in the monitor you want to see and the camera you want to see, like we were just doing on the matrix. As in saying, instead of using the actual PTZ keyboard, you can do it from here. Data means we're using data 1. As we saw earlier, there was data 1, 2, and 3, so you could choose which data you wanted to choose to. Switch would mean that's the one you want to switch after you type in two monitor, camera 3, you would click on switch and then you would see the difference. Here I have all 4 screens of the matrix, monitor 1, 2, 3, and 4. So when we have the other screen pulled up, change monitor 2, camera 4, switch. And as you've noticed now, camera 2 and camera 4 are now the same because we just told it to change monitor 2 to camera 4. Due to the cabling we are using right now, we do have a darker screen on one of them. Sequel, if you've set up a sequence, which we'll talk more about on this one, you can click on here and it will start the sequence. In order to stop it, you would stop it. If you set up a group, and then switch. If you want to switch to the next one, the next monitor, or the next camera, if you're going through camera by camera by camera on a certain monitor, you would click on here. If you want to go back one, you would click on this one. Matrix content. When you click on this tab, this is telling you you're starting on which video input and you're ending on which video input. This one we're actually showing that we have one video input, 256 Let's start over again. Matrix content. Video set input, video set output. You would need to click on here, or you would need to click on here to read your matrix. Okay, let's start over again. You have your video input set and your video output set. This is where if you add a card or change more outputs and inputs into your matrix, you would need to change this. Right here you would put read matrix set. This would read your matrix, and ours is already set up properly, showing that we have starting at monitor 1, we're ending at monitor 4. This is showing us our video setup. We have starting at video 1, we're ending at video 32. So for instance, let's say you bought a 48 matrix, but you're only going to be using only 32, the first 32 videos, and later on you'll be using 48. Well, here you can channel or make it all the way up to 32, so when you do your sequence, or you have it set up in a sequence to jump from channel to channel to channel, you will not be accessing the channels that you're not using. So here is where you would change how many video inputs you'll be using. This is how many monitors you'll be using. So if you change your mind and you want to upgrade later on or degrade later, you can change this right here. And then once you do change it, you will need to hit save and then send to send it. If you do not hit send, it will not update the matrix. Anytime you close out the matrix menu and you reopen it, this is automatically going to be defaulted. You would change the time and the date here, and then you would also add the time Let's start over again with no phone calls. Whenever you open up the time and date, the time and date is automatically going to be defaulted to 2001-1100. You will need to set the time and date the first time. Once you set it up the first time and you hit send, this will send the information to the matrix. But please note, whenever you do close out this program and reopen it, this will be all defaulted to the matrix, but you only need to send it the first time to the matrix and it will be saved in the matrix. The actual matrix, if you look at it right now, it has the time and it has the date right down here on all the screens. And once you save all the information or set the information, you would hit send to send the information to the matrix. Display mode. Character display. This is where, if you label it, where do you want it to be displayed? You want them display the time or display both. So if you want to display the characters only, you would click here and you would hit send, and this would only display the information of the camera, like VP-ATDN27X. So if you've got like back door, front door, and you've labeled all of them, which we'll be showing you here pretty soon, it will just put this up here and it will take off the rest. If you want to see both the time and the date and everything, which we have set up now, you would click on both, or if you want just the time, you would click on just the time. And right here, this would be character only. You click here for the time only. This will display both. If you don't want to display neither of them, you would click on here. This, if you want to see the information left bottom or left up, depending if you want to see it at the top of the screen or at the bottom of the screen. So if you want this information displayed up here, you would click on left up and it will move all the information up here at the very top. And then once you set the way you want, you would send again the information to the matrix. Alarm setup. Here is where we can set up an alarm. Alarms are optional and must be purchased with the matrix. And as I state that it is an optional feature that you have to purchase separately, it is not included. So if you purchase the matrix with the alarm card to connect to an alarm panel, you can set the alarm linkage functions. Right here, the alarm answer set. Here under the alarm answer set, here the alarm address. You can have anywhere between 1 to 128 addresses of alarm set up. Here is the video output. When alarm, the video will display on the monitor you choose. So if you want the monitor 1, or you could do 1 through 16 monitor. So when you have a alarm tripped and everything, it will automatically display the alarm that's going off onto which channel or on which video output you want it to show on. The delay time. The delay time is linked to more than one camera to display on a monitor the camera will display in a sequence, and an interval is a delay time. The delay time can be anywhere between 1 to 99 seconds. So you would put the delay time here. You would also need to enable the alarm, and then you would put the video outputs and everything here that you'd want, and then you could set messages on the alarm and everything. Once you do it, you would need to hit send once you change everything for the alarm. Here, under read alarm settings, if you have your alarm all set up, which this one we do not have the alarm installed, so therefore we can't see anything, this will actually show you the information from the alarm that went off. Here under input alarm character information, here's where you can read the alarm messages inputs. This is optional. Let's redo that one. Here is the alarm or input alarm character information. Here is where you can select alarms. When alarm is triggered, the message can be displayed on the monitor in the LCD screen of the keyboard. So when an alarm is going off, you would be able to see the information here on the monitor and on the actual LCD screen or of the keyboard. Under read alarm character information, here you will be able to read all alarm messages in this option. The matrix or set alarm functions with the keyboard on the matrix menu. The matrix menu alarm setting, there are some different options from the software. Arming method keyboard, oftentimes pressed enter to change the method. Arming time, minutes or hours and minutes, and then the disarming times, hours and minutes. Only when you select the arming method as timed, then the arming and disarming time is useful. So if you're arming an alarm, you're disarming it, it will show this information here on the matrix software. Next is sequence switch. Here is where you would set up a sequence. If you want to set up a sequence, so therefore video input or video output. We've got monitor 1. Every 2 seconds we want it to change, and we want it to read all 29 or 32 inputs. Here is where you would put the channel numbers. Right now it's set up to go to channel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can actually change this, so if you wanted to set at any number, you can put it in here. Let's say if you wanted to go to channel 1, then you wanted to go 7, and then number 8 you wanted to go back to number 1, and then go on, and then you want to see channel 2 again. You can put 2, so therefore it will go so often you can go back to other ones, and then it will keep on going in its sequence. Or you can change the numbers up, or let's say you don't want to have a sequence with all of them, and you can delete half of these and just have a sequence of just like 3, 4, or 5 of them just going over in the video outputs. And here is where you would change the video outputs, so therefore you can change, like you want to have a sequence number 1. When you do sequence, it will show these on monitor 1. Sequence 2 will show these on video 2. Sequence 3 will show these on monitor 3, and so on. Group switching. Here, under group switching, this is used usually with big surveillance systems where there are many cameras and many monitors. But there may be some cameras that are more important that you want to see it on the monitor usually. Then you can use this option, which is called group switching function. For an example, if you have 7 monitors, 100 cameras, and you want to see 1, 5, 20, or 1, 5, 10, 20, and 90. Here you would put in 1, second one you would put in 5, Next you would put in 10. Next one you would put in 20. Next you would put in 90. Let's say these are the important ones. These are like passageways. So you want to see the cameras at the same time. And you don't want to switch from camera to camera per time. Then you can set this up into a group. For example, this would be group number 1. You can have group number 1, 2, 3, 4, how many you want to make, up to like I think here is the group number. The most groups that you can make is 16. So you can make 16 groups total. As I said, you can make group 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 16. So you can put these all into a group. So next, when you want to see all the monitors, you would just need to input 2 and then hit the GRP button on the keyboard. And these will display the cameras on the monitors. And here is saying what number monitor you want it to go to. This is the camera. That's why it says video output. So basically, monitor 1, when you hit group 2 or group 16, however you have this, let's say we got group 1 and we got 1, 5, 10. So when you hit group 1, it's going to show monitor 1, camera 1, monitor 2, camera 5, monitor 3, camera 10, monitor 4, camera 20, monitor 5, camera 90. That's if you have your group set up properly and you do have that many monitors hooked up to your matrix, depending on, as I said, what type of matrix you have, and usually this is used for large companies. Once you do have all this, you would have to hit save and send like you would do on each of these tabs whenever you make a change or something. Character OSD. Here you could save BMPs, you can insert BMPs. Most of the time I would not recommend this because it will cut it down. Most customers will use this part right here, is where here's the channel ID. This is where you would give the information. So let's say you want to label front door as camera number 1, camera number 2 back door, so you would change this to 2 and you would type in back door right here. This is where you would type it in and it would show it down here below the way it would. If you insert like a BMP file or something, we have seen it many times where it cuts off the file. It will not put the whole file here. You've also got several characters that you can use or formats, but most of the time most people use the default, which is this one right here. You can make it bold, but when you do make it bold, depending on what the lettering is, it does make it look very blocky. And then once you do it, you would have to send it to the actual send it to the matrix. Under keyboard preview, this feature is where you have one master and you have 15 sub keyboards. So here is where you can choose a certain keyboard if you have more than one keyboard hooked up and you give it different IDs. And let's say on keyboard number 1, let's say keyboard number 1, you do not want it to see certain cameras. Here you can tell the keyboard you do not want it to access, or shall we say access, certain cameras. So here you can have it where, let's say if you have camera 1 on monitor 1, they cannot go in there and change monitor 1 to camera 2. They will not be able to change anything on the cameras. Let's redo this. Keyboard preview. Under keyboard preview, you have your master, and then you have your 15 sub keyboards that you could label. You would have to give them the IDs. This will allow certain keyboards to access certain monitors. So for instance, you can go full deprive of the master, and then you can tell it 1, 2, 3. And then once you hit save and send, this will allow the master keyboard to view camera 1, 2, and 3. If they try to access 4, they will no longer be able to access 4. So you can do this on several keyboards. So if you have a large place and you have 15 keyboards and you want to have like keyboard 1 where they can only have control of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Keyboard 2 have 14 through 21. Keyboard 4 have 21 through 28 access. This is where you would click on which keyboard, and then once you click on that keyboard, you would click here on which cameras you want them to have access. Yes means they can see that camera, access that camera. No, when you click on it, means they cannot access it. So if you go through here and you hit save and send, they will not be able to see camera 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Now, on camera preview, you have your monitors here. So therefore, you can click monitor 1, and then you can disable the cameras you do not want to see on monitor 1. So, for instance, if we hit full deprive again, you can hit yes on the first 3. This will allow the monitor to view, or monitor 1 to view the first 3 cameras only. If you try to access camera 4 on monitor 1, it will not work. And this is how you can change each monitor. Please note, if your Matrix only supports or have 4 monitors, then you cannot change like 5 and 6 or 7. But this is where you can have individual monitors. So therefore, you can set the keyboard for them to view certain cameras, and you can have the monitors where they can only view certain cameras on that monitor as well. Thank you very much for watching this Veilux presentation on how to set up the Matrix software on, or how you would configure the software on a Matrix and how to function certain things on the Matrix. Let's redo that. Thank you for watching this Veilux presentation that shows you about the Matrix, how to control the Matrix, how to set up the Matrix through the software, so therefore you can have certain monitors with certain cameras, setting up groups, sequence, and alarm options, and other things. Thank you very much and have a nice day.